Every day, you wake up with a choice. Stay the same, or fight. Join me as I dive into the stories of high achievers who have faced obstacles head-on and emerged stronger. We'll explore the principles that guide their lives, the strategies that built their success, and the faith that keeps them grounded. This is the Apex Mindset, where we understand what it takes to win, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And where we don't just talk about the fight, we live it. Hope, grit, endurance. This is where it all comes together. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Finally dragged you into it, or somebody did. So I'm here with Sue Sharp. And Sue, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Live in Yukon, Oklahoma. Happily married to my husband of 42 years, almost. Yeah, and I think we were going to talk about my native history. I am a citizen of Muscogee Creek Nation.
Awesome. So what is the Muscogee Creek all about? Because, I mean, I hear it Muscogee or Creek or one or the other or both. I mean,
Originally, when we were located in Alabama before the Trail of Tears, before, they stole our land, we were Muscogee. But the English settlers, whenever they came over, because all of the tribal cities and stuff were usually near bodies of water, they gave us the name Creek. And so when we were fairly recognized by the government, it was Creek Nation. But probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, they elected to take back our old name. So it's Muscogee Nation.
Okay, cool. Is that so it's not like a federally recognized name
Right.
now, so now it's like officially Muscogee?
Yes, it's
Okay.
officially, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, they put, it's Muscogee Nation, but to avoid confusion, they'll put Muscogee Creek Nation.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
How many tribes are in Oklahoma?
Good Lord, no idea. There's a lot.
Too many?
There's, you hear about the 5 civilized tribes, which we're a member of the 5 civilized tribes, but there are too many different tribes to even, I'd have to Google it. I don't
gotcha.
know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know, because you mentioned the Trail of Tears, and I know that a lot of them, or the Trail of Tears end in Oklahoma? That's like,
Yes.
That's where they were going?
Yes. Most people, when you hear the Trail of Tears, they think of Cherokees, but the Creeks also were forced out, and they did the Trail of Tears also. My third great-grandfather came to Oklahoma through the Trail of Tears.
Okay.
He was actually housed at Fort Gibson, and when I found that out, that was kind of a little, I don't know how that made me feel, because as a kid going to school, we took field trips to Fort Gibson, and it was just a fun place to go in my memories. And then when I found that out, I kind of looked at it in a little different light.
Yeah. Now you got some actual family history there, so it's
Right.
digs a little deeper. So,
And it was a forced evacuation, I think.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing. They didn't just come to Oklahoma because they wanted to.
well, yeah, I think if they had the option, they wouldn't be in Oklahoma. So, and yeah, that's cool, because I've traced my history back quite a bit, and I'm not enough to claim anything. And I have a lot of, my history goes all the way back to the Trail of Tears, and all my life I've heard stories from my family members talking about, they walked it and then didn't register. They said, we're not going to be a part of your system, and they just didn't do it. Of course, back then, being Native American was not something to be proud of. So they, a lot of them kept it hush-hush. And only now that I'm digging, I'm starting to uncover some things about it that they would never talk about, because, again, You know, it was looked down upon to have, you know, be married to somebody that's a Native American.
Right, right. My grandmother experienced that. During World War II, they had a pen pal thing set up at Lonely Hearts Club. If you ever heard of that, I thought that was really cool when I heard the story. But she did Lonely Hearts Club, and she was a pen pal with who became my grandfather. And when he got out of the Army, they got married. But my mother never met her grandparents because they disowned him because he married a Native woman.
Yeah, and to me, it's just real sad. I mean, they were here first, and I think they deserve a lot more respect than they get. And like I said, I'm not enough to claim anything, but I have a real appreciation for Native American culture. It's been all in my family, and you know, it's just you hear about the stories of assimilation and all that, and you can't help but not get mad at what happened, you know. It's just
Right. It was wrong and it was unfair, but you know, what do you do about it now? You just one thing that I appreciate about my tribe is they are trying to take back some of the things that was lost. Like they are bringing back teaching the Muscogee language, which I think is so cool. I am, you know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, so it comes very hard for me. But I would love to learn the language. I can pick up a few words, you know. The letters look the same, but the pronunciation's not the same, so it kind of throws me a bit. But I would like to delve into that a little bit more, do that. There's just a lot of things that they're trying to take back. Our government, one thing in tracking history, a lot of things that I discovered I think were really cool, like the government, the way the U.S. government is set up, really was originally taken from Indian tribes because they had their own set of government way back then. And I think that's really cool. And as a tribe, we have our own government. Muscogee Nation is made up of about how many? 8 different counties in Muscogee, so it's pretty large. It's actually Creek Nation, Muscogee Creek Nation is the 3rd largest Native tribe in the U.S. And we have our own. We're classified as a reservation, but it's not like you think a reservation would be. Like, you know, the Navajos have a reservation and they actually live on the reservation, and it can be a lot of poverty and everything. But ours, we just live a normal life like everybody lives. We are just within that tribal boundary, set up under tribal rules. You know, we have our own tribal court. And because of, I don't want to get into the Homer Gert thing, but if you're arrested in Oklahoma and you prove that you are Native, you know, Muscogee Native, it kicks, your case kicks to them, their courts.
And see, what fascinates me is here in Texas, it's not as popular, I would say, because I don't really think, if there is any tribes here, they're not really in West Texas, at least. And so you just don't hear about it enough. But, you know, the tribes in modern day, it's very interesting to me how much it still is a tribe, you know.
There's really not any difference, I don't think. What makes the tribe is a sense of community and a sense of history, ancestry. That's what makes the tribe, you know. I think with Muscogee Nation, they're trying to bring people more together. Like they have a lot of youth programs and camps, and there's a college, you know. They just want to bring that sense of community back, and that heritage back.
Sure.
And teach our kids to be proud of that heritage. And they're really big on education. They help with funding college, and they encourage them to give back to the tribe.
Sure. What's the healthcare like with the tribe versus outside of it?
Well, of course, there's Indian health care, and there were a lot of jokes about Indian health care. You know, when I was a kid, you could go. The joke was you would go and, oh, you're going to the clinic, then you're going to be there all day. You know,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what time your appointment was, you're going to be there all day. But it's not that way anymore. I think in my clinic, I get excellent care. I am very fortunate and blessed to be able to do that. But yeah, I love my doctors.
Oh, good. As long as they do everything that they're supposed to do, I think it doesn't matter.
Well, I have insurance, you know, through my job, and they file my insurance, but then I don't pay anything out of pocket, which is really nice.
Yeah. That would be really
And
nice.
grateful for that.
Well, see, and I've heard that, like, because I know in European countries they don't pay anything for healthcare, but then it's like, well, if the doctor's not making any money, then are they really as invested in your actual healthcare?
I don't necessarily believe that that's true. Not even talking about just native care, but in researching, like we've been looking at Panama, going to Panama and looking at the healthcare thing down there, and theirs is a national healthcare also. But the doctor will spend 45 minutes with you because he's like, I'm going to get paid regardless, you know, how much
Right.
time I spend with you. So,
Right.
so there's a lot of pros for that as
Sure.
well.
What fascinates me is that you talked about the community aspect of it, and you know, it would be cool if a lot more people recognize that tribes are really just big communities, and you know, that a lot of them feel the way they feel because of, you know, their history. And but what interests me mostly is what happens if, you know, there's this big whole talk of taking your land back, which I fully, you know, I'm all on board for. But what happens to everybody else that didn't ask to be here either? But, you know, I was born here. My parents were born here and beyond then in the end, and so on and so forth. I didn't shove anybody out personally. I support the cause, and I agree on the Native American side that they were shoved out and forced into things, and I don't agree with anything that the government did when they got here, kind of thing. And but it makes me think, like, okay, I can't register even though I have history because there's no legal documentation that I can actually find, because during the Trail of Tears, my ancestors didn't register. They didn't want to be a part of the club, so to speak, so they didn't sign up. And because of that, I can't trace it back. I can't prove it. So what happens to people that are on board for and support the Native American cause but aren't Native American? Because if you have a entire community of purists who say unless you are 100%, you can't be here, they're just going to turn around and shove us right back out, you know?
Well, my thought is bloodlines are so watered down now. If they took out everybody who wasn't full blood or even half blood, the tribes, I think a lot of tribes would become non-extinct. They would become extinct, basically. Right. And there can be some prejudice within the Indian tribe for that, but then there's a lot that's not that way. You know, one of my favorite quotes is from Black Elk, and he said, if you have one drop of Indian blood in you, you are Indian. And that's just so inclusive. And that is, especially with Muscogee Nation, even in their history, you know, they were inclusive to a lot of people. In history, a lot of some of the most famous warriors within Creek Nation actually were Scottish descent. You know, they talk about there's Macintosh and McGillivray and names like that. You know, they were from Scottish descent, and then there was also the slave owners. You know, Creek Nation, they did own slaves, but then they also assimilated them. You know,
Right.
yeah, you do come across some prejudice, but on a bigger part, I think there's just like it's now a sense of community, a sense of a shared ancestry, and being proud of your heritage.
I so badly want to legally put on paper my ancestry heritage. I'd love to have that documentation, but I wasn't on a reservation. I didn't grow up the way that probably most of them do. So it's like if I walk into a reservation and I claimed I'm Native American, but I'd have nothing to show for it, then what's the vibe that I would get from that?
Well, if you were in Oklahoma and you walked into any of these towns and said, I'm Native American, everyone would probably say, me too, you know,
Yeah.
because it's Oklahoma.
Right.
So, and I think that should, I know it can be a concern because sometimes that concerns me too. You know, since I'm not full blood, my bloodline's been watered down, just like a lot of people's. But I think it is, if that is a part of your heritage that you want to embrace, then embrace it. No one can take that away from you.
Right.
They can't take that away from you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
And see, somebody saying that is one thing, but like I can't pin down a tribe that I'm from because there is no documentation. I can't say I'm this or you know, I could be Crow or I could be Creek. I mean, I don't know, because like you said, there was more than one tribe that walked the Trail of Tears, and so it's just, I don't know, it's just weird to get mixed vibes from the same people. You would think that everybody would just be all on board for one mindset, but
No, because they're people.
Right.
And people have all different beliefs, all different prejudices, you know. They're still people.
that's true. That is true.
So much of our history was verbal.
Right.
They didn't keep records like the English did, you know. It was verbal. And what really makes me sad is I wish that would have continued within my family line, because with Muscogee Nation, it's a matriarchal society, and that's your clan and everything comes from that matriarchal side. And I don't know what my clan is, even though it was my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, you know, they were all Muscogee. But they didn't pass that down. They didn't
Right.
give me, you know, it wasn't, they didn't talk about that culture, and that just makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that I'll ever be able to know that.
I think the culture nowadays is a little different than it used to be, though. You know, because you're right, it's been watered down a lot. But there's still some people out there. There's still some groups and organizations and tribes out there that try to hold on to as much as that as possible. And I don't know if you've experienced any of that.
Like I said previously, my tribe is, they really want to take that back, like the resurgence of Creek Nation language. It's a big thing they're teaching that. They have, like I said, Indian colleges, youth things that they do for the youth, get-togethers to try to gain that sense of community. They do, community functions in different towns. I don't live within the borders, so I'm considered I'm considered at large, a tribal member that's at large.
Okay.
So,
What
but they
does
try
that
to
mean?
do stuff for that. I don't live on the tribal
Oh,
lands.
okay,
I live
okay.
outside of the border.
Gotcha.
But they still try to include us.
Right.
They do stuff like it. Once a month, the tribe comes to Oklahoma City, and they'll do, they'll have where you can renew your tribal cards and
Sure.
just and have dinners and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they're trying to do that. They're still powwows. They're still they try to support native businesses. It's
Well, and even in the school system, there's there's Native American scholarships and stuff you could get just for being Native American. But yeah, I mean, I see it everywhere too. Not as much in Texas, surprisingly, but definitely all throughout the Oklahoma area, and even Kansas. There's a lot in Kansas too.
right. We're very thankful that Creek Nation helped my daughter with her college, several scholarships, and hoping my grandson will be able to
Sure.
use that as well. But the tribe itself contributed money for her scholarship.
And that's awesome. That's awesome. So what could somebody like me that, is involved with the culture but isn't documented, can't document, but is a full supporter of everything that's, Native American, so to speak, what can I do to help the culture even more? I mean, is there even anything I could do?
I don't know. Just learn all you can, and you can't. I don't see how you could change history that is being in the making because you're not a voting member of a tribe. But yeah, just pass the heritage. Talk to your, at some point if you have kids, talk to your kids about them. Let them know this is a part of who I am. Yeah, respect. Just respect it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, respect it goes a long way, I think.
Go, learn what you can. There's so many museums and a lot of information. Really cool stuff in Oklahoma that you can learn so much from. They attend powwows. They do powwows and stomp dances. And
Do you think it's right to spread, I guess, prejudice and hate in the name of something that happened in the past, even if what happened in the past was wrong? Say my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa participated in the assimilation of your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa, and my ancestry was the reason that your ancestry is all screwed up. Do you think it's right or do you think it's justified at that point for someone like yourself to be mad at me for it, even though I didn't do anything about it and you didn't do anything about it, but it's just history?
it's history, and it should remain in the past. I mean, it can't be changed, and you shouldn't judge someone. People should not be judged by the color of their skin, and basically that's what's happening.
Yeah. Well, and not to break out into that because I don't want to get canceled, but but like in my opinion, I think Morgan Freeman had a quote, and he said, or somebody asked him like, how do we end racism, and he said, just stop talking about it.
Right.
You know, in my opinion, I don't judge anybody, really. I don't care what color you are, what you did. I don't care. You know, to me, a person's a person, you know, because if you cut us all open, we're all red, right? So, you know,
It's no different. There's prejudice. There will probably always be some form of prejudice, but hopefully that will get better, you know,
Yeah.
and not just with natives and whites. You know, we deal with prejudice every day, as a society, not as, I'm not saying within the tribe, but I just mean as a society. It
Right.
seems like racism has been forefront on, as a problem.
yeah.
And I think my opinion is the past should be the past, and we go on from there.
100%.
Keep the good stuff, keep the community, keep the language, keep what you want to take from your heritage. But do the good stuff and go forward. Make this world a better place.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that, you know, like Native American stuff, a lot of people just don't learn about. And so it's like, my biggest thing, even doing this episode specifically, was, you know, I just wanted to bring it. I wanted to bring a light to it. I wanted to shine something on it, because I love Native American culture. It really, there's something about it that just draws me in, and even just learning about it. And I really want to get a beaded strap, and I want to be proud to wear that. You
Then
know?
get it and be
Yeah,
proud to
exactly,
wear it.
exactly. So, you know, I think there's a lot of people that hesitate because they think that everybody is on the same page as far as prejudice, but it's like it's not true. There's a lot of people that aren't.
I wear I make a point of wearing native. If I wear jewelry, it's most of the time it's native jewelry. I guess it's inbred deep in me. I can walk by and turquoise makes me go.
I'm the
It
same
catches
way.
It catches my
Same
eye. I
way.
love turquoise
Oh, yeah.
jewelry. I love the white turquoise jewelry.
Oh yeah, was it
buffalo?
buffalo? Yes, buffalo turquoise.
Um,
Beautiful. Well, and you're funny you say that, because I'm wearing a silver turquoise ring, and I have a silver arrowhead on the necklace. So it's like, because
you
I
do.
just
And I
love
love
it.
native print.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it used to embarrass me, like, I probably wouldn't wear that when I went to the Indian clinic.
Sure.
But now I don't care.
Really.
Yeah, as I get older, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And,
Well, I only aspire to get to that
you know,
point.
because I am, like I said, I'm wish I was as dark as my mom was. And my dad was kind of dark too.
Yeah.
And I do resemble a lot of Creek Nation women, the face of my shape.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my body style is definitely that flat back, that thick waist. But I can't tell you how many times in school, like when I would change schools, like from, I went to Hilldale, which went to the 8th grade when I was in Muscogee, and then went to the 9th grade. And when I went to the 9th grade, I was just like taken in by several, you know, Indians. You know, it's like they recognized that in me.
Yeah.
I didn't seek them out. They
Yeah.
recognized that in me. When we first moved to Lubbock,
Yeah.
and we went to church at Christian Life, there was, I can't remember his name, but he just walked up to me after church one day and he said, "You're Indian, aren't you?" Like within that group in junior high. It's like I learned all the terms, AIM, American Indian Movement, and Indian, you know, write out Indian because you're Indian, and don't be an apple, you know.
Yep. Yeah, there's just, I don't know, there's just so much to it. It's just fun, you know? Well, I'm going to wrap it up there, Sue. I think it was a great conversation.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thanks for listening. Remember, in the pursuit of your dreams, hesitation is the enemy. Slam your foot on the gas and go full speed towards your vision. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep striving, stay inspired and motivated, and never stop chasing greatness.